for the Utah Jazz. They're now 2-5. Let's talk about this loss to the Hornets. What happened? What's going on? What's the future going to look like? Are we going to be okay? Let's do this. This is Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's lower this. We've got a lot to cover today. Let's lower the screen here and just talk about these different happenings for the Utah Jazz. But before we do, let's just talk a little bit about the Charlotte Hornets. Con Knippel was awesome tonight. A big-time reason the Jazz lost this one. Basically, the starting unit for the Charlotte Hornets, who did not have Brandon Miller, did not have LaMelo Ball, and they still just boat raced the Utah Jazz. That starting unit just killed the Jazz starters. Interesting stuff. Utah just has a rough night defensively, and you got to give a lot of credit to the Charlotte Hornets. They just made shots, and they look pretty decent. They moved that ball around. Con Knippel, 9 for 17 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3. He just looked awesome. 6 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, it's crazy he's doing this as a rookie. 24 points. I mean, it's against a horrendous Jazz defense, but it's great work by him. Miles Bridges, I never quite know what to think of him other than some off-court things that make him not whatever. But 29 points, he took 12 free throws, and he just took it to Markkanen at times. Holy smokes. Yeah, Markkanen. Kalkbrenner, who, by the way, Bowler kept calling him Chalkbrenner. I know there's like 8 of you out there, Charlotte fans, but if any of you are, follow the team enough to know how to pronounce his name, let me know. But I have a feeling Chalkbrenner is not it. All right. And also, it was a nice reunion with Colin Sexton, who 4 for 11, 1 for 4. Nice to see Colin Sexton, but it's okay that he's on the Charlotte Hornets. But he did have 12 assists, which is nice for him in the absence of LaMelo Ball. He really moved that ball well and filled that hole pretty well. All right. Also, Train Man, I felt like he was just every shot he took, it felt like a sledgehammer. But when you look at the stats, it's funny. 3 for 7 from 3. It's crazy how one of those players off the bench can just impact the game in a big way. He had like one that was just long and just kind of a demoralizing 3. All right. Let's get into the Jazz starting unit. Guys, there were lots of comments after my last video about things I said, and I just want to say it's nice when I get proven right again. For everyone who had a problem with everything I said, I don't care. I really don't. This is a channel where we speak the truth, and if you can't handle the truth, Jack Nicholson style, then you gotta, I don't know. You got to get educated on some of these things, because what we talked about last time all showed its head here. Now, we predicted a change in the starting unit, and it happened. Taylor Hendricks started. I have not been a big fan of Filipowski, and I know a lot of Jazz fans are. Personally, I have not seen it, and I predicted Cody Williams in the starting lineup, although I was really happy that instead it was Taylor Hendricks, and I predicted Flip was out. He's out. Played a little bit better on the bench, though, which I think is actually where he can be an effective NBA player, is playing off the bench and kind of situational, bullying smaller players, because he does have a lot. He does have a great skill set. He is just not like an enormous or big time athlete. He's just not, and he's not big enough where it doesn't matter. Even Yusuf Nurkic, who I think if you look up the word plodding in the dictionary, his face is just big right there. But Nurkic is just huge, and that size does impact shots a little bit. But there are some interesting things going, and I just wanted to say, for everyone who was in the comments talking about, oh, I thought this guy was pro losing. Yes, I would like the Jazz to get a nice pick in this draft, and I think losing is important. But even how you lose matters, guys. And what we were told coming into this season bears some scrutiny, okay? So when we come into this season, Austin Ainge and Will Hardy and Ryan Smith and all this Jazz leadership were hot to trot. And they talked about, oh, we're too good for tanking. We're not doing that. Nose up, highbrow, too good. When you come into the season with that type of attitude, we're a win-now team, and you're too good to trade Lauri Markkanen when it was the right time to do it. And you were so arrogant about it. So arrogant about it when the trade was supposed to happen. And everyone in the comments and on social media gave me such a hard time over that trade that should have happened last year before the contract. And now look what the fruits of that are. They can't trade him. They can't do it. He's too expensive. We talked about this contract being too big. And guess what? One time in my life, I would like the Utah Jazz to not act like they somehow have some secret sauce that no one else has. That they're somehow smarter than everyone else out there. So here's the thing. When you come into the season and you say, we're playing to win, then that comes with win scrutiny. That comes with that scrutiny. If you want to be one of the big boys, then you're getting the criticism that the big boys get. And if you can't handle it, you better get out. So here's the deal. When you are playing to win and you lose by how much did the Jazz lose tonight? 23. And that's 2 big-time losses in a row. Guess what? We have to scrutinize your tactics. We're not talking about development now because we're playing to win. We're talking tactics. And when your tactics lead to the worst defense in the league and an offense that only benefits one player and no one else can score, not a single one, then that comes with scrutiny. Okay? Is this hard to understand for some people? It matters how you lose. It matters. If you are going to draft 3 years in a row later in the lottery because you're too good to just trade your good players, the vibes are more important than the wins. Well, then guess what? This is what's happening. You did more development of Kelly Olynyk post Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert trade than anyone else. You did more development of Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson these last 3 years than you did for Keyonte George. He finally gets an opportunity, and look what's happening. It matters. And now year 3, we get the pick we would have taken at number 3 at 5. We lucked out like crazy, and we can't get him on the floor. The only player getting any sort of development is Lauri Markkanen. He's the only one. Everyone else gets jack squat. Look at this. 28 shots for Lauri Markkanen. 28 to score 29 points. Literally every single action in the offense is to set him up. Look at this. This tells you a story like nothing else. 28 shots, 18 for Keyonte George because he's the only one that's got the ability to run the pick and roll, and he's the only one getting him the ball. And we lose the game by 23. Where are the comments now? I don't want to hear it. If you are going to be a big boy, then you get big boy criticism, okay? I came into this season being excited to watch Ace Bailey get this type of focal point. We saw in preseason what he could do. We go into it and nope, never mind. It's the Finland offense, and that's all we're doing. And literally everyone on the floor is just setting Lauri Markkanen up to score. And by the way, at some point this season, they're going to be so low in the scores. By the way, they're only at number 5. They're at the 5 spot in the lottery already. And they were lucky to beat the Suns. They were lucky to do it. The Suns, who, by the way, smoked the Spurs tonight. They were lucky to win that game. They rested 2 of their players, and we could barely beat them. Full strength. Mane's starting lineup couldn't do it. Well, they did, but it took every ounce in an overtime to do it. In the meantime, Ace Bailey is just sitting on the bench, can't get on the floor. It's driving me a little crazy, guys. And here's the thing. I don't care if you keep Lauri Markkanen. If that's what you want to do for the future, fine. But can we please accept reality of what this Jazz team is? This is the reality. This was the easiest stretch of the season, by the way, and they ended up 2-4. I predicted 1-5, so joke's on me. But anyways, they do not, look, we go here. Remaining schedule strength. Utah has the toughest one of the entire NBA. It's going to get much worse. Are we winning these games? I don't think so. Because every single one of these guys that got developed, that got the back seat the last 3 years, Taylor Hendricks, although, by the way, he did get injured last year, so credit. I got to calm down a little bit. But all these other guys, Cody Williams, we decided that it wasn't important to get to the top spot in the draft. We decided that being 8 was okay. Right? It was more important to develop Lauri Markkanen than to get the number 1 on-ball PNR defender this season, Stephon Castle. That was more important for us, was Lauri Markkanen and vibes. That was more important. You better freaking hope, Jazz fans. You better hope that Cody Williams and Taylor Hendricks become something. Because if not, these last 3 seasons have been an utter waste. Just an absolute waste for 3 years. 3 years. And it feels longer than my time in an Argentine visa. It just once in my life covering this team, can they please just listen to what other teams that have succeeded have done? There is not some sort of Utah Jazz exceptionalism that leads you to this promised land. We have never won a title. The only time we have been there was with Karl Malone, a literal MVP, and an all-NBA player in John Stockton next to him. That's the formula. And somehow we think that other teams are going to trade us that guy out of the kindness of their hearts, as if we're the LA Lakers and the NBA will rig the system for Salt Lake City, Utah. Breaking news, they don't care. Life is tough for us working class, by the way. There is no, I have more money than everyone else in the NBA. You have to actually work and play hard and sacrifice and do the right thing to get to the top. You don't just get to buy it, right? Some of us have to budget our lunch, and we don't get to supersize our value meal. We have to get the regular until the thing comes naturally. I'm losing the plot here. But the Utah Jazz are at a disadvantage in this league. So you have to be smarter, tougher, and sacrifice more to get to where you need to go. And the Jazz finally did it last year, and were rewarded for it. Finally. The 2 years before, the best player we got was actually from the Wolves pick in Keyonte George. But our most important asset, our most valuable one that we would have never traded, we squandered. And Taylor Hendricks, I'm hoping to high heavens that he becomes what I think he can potentially be. And honestly, what that is a high-level starter, right? Like a guy that can defend, hit threes, rebound. He does a pretty good job driving to the basket, sometimes draws fouls, this and that. And he looks like he's recovering from an injury. But my goodness, I hope he becomes at least that. By the way, let's just get into it. There's my rant. I'm annoyed. I'm really annoyed. Yes, the Jazz lost, and that's good. But we've lost the last 3 seasons and still decided that developing our young players is not important. And the first 2 seasons post Donovan and Rudy, we actually didn't prioritize losing. and it burned us. It burned us badly. So I don't want to hear any complaints about guys like Wembanyama and Amen Thompson and Stephon Castle and all these guys that went top 5 when we could have had them. We could have got them. Amen Thompson or Asar Thompson could be on the Jazz right now. And by the way, probably the thing holding up any sort of Detroit trade would be the fact that they would include Asar Thompson. We want Asar. They aren't going to trade him. Guess what? We don't get him because we could have just picked him if we'd have just done the right thing and gotten that top 5 pick. We could have had him. But we were too good for that. So anyways, it doesn't happen. Anyways, let's get into this. Let's talk about this game, although I had to set that straight because I had a bunch of people who had a lot to say in the comments, and I don't know if they understand what's going on here. It's not great, guys. It's not great. Anyways, the Jazz finally did the right thing and put Taylor Hendricks in the starting unit because defense actually matters. It took 5 games, and he only played 5 minutes the game before, but somehow gets to start tonight. I don't know what the rhyme or reason is with our starting unit at all, or with substitutions, and something tells me the players don't really know either. One thing I do know, there is just one game plan, and it is to get Markkanen the ball in the most advantageous spots, and literally everyone on the floor, their job is not to work through the offense. It's just to get Lauri Markkanen the ball. But anyways, Taylor Hendricks tonight, 5 for 8 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. Interesting. Starts and plays well. Who knew? Who knew? And there's actually some defensive ability there. Look at this. Of these 4 starters, Taylor Hendricks had the best plus minus in our 23. That's where we're at right now, is 23-point losses. You're just looking for who has the highest negative value, I guess. That's where we're at. But anyways, -7 for Taylor Hendricks. He actually brings athleticism and shooting onto the floor. He can defend. He doesn't look 100% there athletically and physically from the injury, but he's getting there. My son is going to bed. Good night, Gray. Lauri Markkanen. Oh, Lauri Markkanen. I would just like to start that I am not a Lauri Markkanen hater. I do not care. I don't care. Would I have traded him? Yes. I would have traded him 3 years ago. I would have traded him long ago. And guess what? Whether we have traded him or not, we're in the exact same spot. In fact, last year, this is just looking back. And by the way, I just want it for the record that second year when the draft wasn't good, I actually was a proponent of winning games because I felt like at least you can get rid of that protection on that pick and you're fine. Right? And that turned out to probably be the right point of view because Cody Williams has not really done a lot, and I do think that he can become something, but the Jazz just didn't decide. They should have just tanked the whole thing or tried to win. Instead, they did an in-between thing, so they don't get Stephon Castle, and they still owe their pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder this year. So they successfully did the wrong thing in both ways. You know, whether you're like me and would have liked to have lost as many games as possible so you get a top 5 pick, even if it's not the greatest draft, you can still find good players like Stephon Castle. Or, at least win so you get the protections off their pick. Instead, they just did the middle of the road thing, ended up getting jumped by 2 spots for Cody Williams. And that's where we're at. So, anyways, and I know someone in the comments is going to say, look at this guy, says one thing and does another. No, guess what? We evolve based off of what the Jazz do. I know that I would have just traded these guys all right off. There is only one way to do this correctly, and that is through the draft, and you don't do that by, holding on to the vibes. You don't do that. I'm sorry. If you want to win a championship, you need to draft superstars. We're seeing what the Spurs are doing right now. The Spurs did it correctly. The Spurs were not too good for what they needed to do, and they got rewarded. They got rewarded. And twice, even with Wembanyama, they understood the assignment because they got Stephon Castle the next year. And guess what? They own the Atlanta Hawks pick. Just so you know, Trae Young is out for like a month. So they're going to get another lottery pick. Taking notes, Jazz? Or are we just too good to do the right thing all the time? My gosh. You know what would have been super cool coming to this year is if we had a full slate of young players playing that were continuing to, like, what if you have Stephon Castle and Keyonte George developing together for multiple years so that when the Jazz actually win the lottery and bring in a superstar like an AJ DeBonsa or a Darren Peterson or a Cam Boozer, these guys are ready to go. Instead, we're still worried about guys like Svi Mikhailiuk and you know, Kyle Anderson and Lauri Markkanen and all these guys, which are fine, but don't expect these young guys to perform as high a level when you haven't done the work to develop them. It's just not how it's going to work. Flipping the script, the OG, my man. Jazz flipped the script, put Ace in his place. That's right. Can we please just figure it out? So now I got to talk about this. So anyways, having said all that, it's not like I hate Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen is a good player. What, top 30? But here's the thing. Literally everything the Jazz do right now is to support him. Everything. All three players that don't have the ball in their hands are designed to set him up for a shot. So you've got weak side, corner three to spread the floor, and then you've got the two guys next to Lauri Markkanen setting screens. They run a double screen like every time. Like every time.
Second time that the Hornets have started three.
Look at double screen every time. This is every play.
Sometimes you just forget that these athletes are totally
double screen. Here, watch. Screen's going to come from Markkanen. Off screen, Keyonte George. Nice pass. Every single thing. Double screen. Boom, boom. That's every time.
Love has not played in the first 5 games,
which is great. This is a nice one for Lauri. He does that good. But look at this. It's just every time dribble handoff. By the way, the Jazz are the #1 dribble handoff team in the NBA, is to set Lauri Markkanen up. This is what we're doing with Ace Bailey, by the way. This is what we're doing to develop Ace Bailey. Run motions to get Lauri Markkanen open. That's it. Look, he's waiting for some cut. That ain't coming. It's decoy. And this is how teams are now guarding the Jazz. They know what the Jazz are going to do. They do it every time. Running layup shot. Oh, this is transition. Cutting layup shot. Here we go. Set the screen. Boom. Nice pass. Keyonte George, by the way. Look at this. Double screen. Pick and roll. Lauri Markkanen. Nice. So anyways, I don't have anything against Lauri Markkanen. Like, he's a good player, a really good player. You don't put up these numbers if you're not. But the entire offense is designed for one thing. There's just not anything else going on. You know, you have 18 shots for Keyonte George, and that's because when these PNRs don't work, he is placed in a tough spot where he's just having to ISO or create or run quick actions with a shot clock that doesn't have as much time on it. And it's not particularly fair, right? And Utah, because Lauri Markkanen cannot shoot a pull-up jump shot from three and cannot initiate offense for himself, this is kind of what they have to do, I guess. It's just I don't know how to explain this. It's the Jazz kind of have the weirdest offense, it's just kind of strange. It's like what would happen if you'd have, remember Klay Thompson on the Warriors in his prime? It's kind of like what would happen if Klay Thompson had been traded to some team and they made him their like superstar #1 guy. Not really a dribble it up, run a pick and roll guy. He's an off-ball shooter. And everything you would do would be to have all your other players kind of set him up to shoot the ball. That's kind of like what the Jazz are doing now. And it's interesting. They've won a couple games. Some of that was because guys like Walker Kessler shot 75% from three to start the season, which is, you know, that's awesome, but that's not sustainable. It's a little bit fluky. but it's just a strange offense. And I don't think it's sustainable for high-level winning. And what I really have a problem with is that long-term, I don't know how you get out of it. If everything is just designed around that, like when they put Ace Bailey in the starting unit and they're still just running stuff for Lauri, how does that look and how does that work? And are players going to like that? I look at the body language of the players and it's not great. And I don't think it's, players, and Keyonte George had a really interesting quote today that something along the lines of the coach shouldn't have to like coach for effort and defense and stuff, which I agree. You want players that play extremely hard. But imagine you're in that starting unit or on the bench and your sole job is to make one guy succeed. That's it. Your goal is to get Lauri Markkanen the ball. That's it. We are working to make one player elevate. After a while, like, don't you get a little bit like, what about, do there other guys on this team that we can run actions for? Can we try something else too? Or is it literally just this? And then you think about the bench players who don't get to start because they don't match the skill set that is necessary to help Lauri Markkanen succeed. That was the whole point of Filipowski starting, was because they needed a secondary playmaker, because Lauri Markkanen is not a playmaker. So they need like a secondary option when the first option is get Markkanen the ball, doesn't work. Secondary option, you need another ball handler, and that's Filipowski. But typically that's not how this stuff works. And by the way, Svi Mikhailuk neither. So the coach has decided that Svi Mikhailuk is an integral part of this starting unit, but he can't make a play. Like, he can't run a pick and roll. Markkanen doesn't run pick and rolls. He's just not able to do it. Look up the numbers. The pull-up numbers. In fact, should we just do it because we can? Maybe this is bad, like YouTube or whatever, but like, let's go here. So, not scores. We'll go to players and let's just look this up. I'll just show you. He's not a pull-up three-point shot. In fact, this is probably not a good idea. I probably should do a separate video just about this, but then everyone will... I'm just in my head about this today, guys. I'm just really frustrated. Play type. Does this have isolation? Let's see. Transition, pick and roll ball handler. Spot up. Is that a... pull up 3, or is this catch and shoot? So isolation, first off, let's see. I wonder if Markkanen actually shows up well. Well, we're not going to see that. No, he doesn't even show up in isolations because we're running just pick and rolls. But pick and roll ball handler, transition, post up, spot up, handoff. Let's go to this shooting. And let's see. Oh, that's from... Sorry, guys. I just want to look this up. I just want to show you what I'm talking about. If we can't find it, we'll quit here. But I'm going to try this for just a second. Shot dashboard. Oh, that's interesting. A hustle leaders general clutch. I don't know. This is probably a waste of time. Is Lauri on here? He is Lauri. Because I know he doesn't... What is spot up 3? A spot up three-point shot catches the ball and shoots. Dang it, that's catch and shoot. All right, well, I can't find it. Let's just talk about it later. But this is where he's really good. And actually, I think when you look at this right here, you'll see this is where Lauri Markkanen's good, and this is why the Jazz do it. He is their... I guess if you had to say he is technically their best player. He's good. 64% on these. But the Jazz have turned a catch and shoot player into their number one offense, and it just kind of turns everyone else into screen setters, right? And it's not been my favorite. It's not conducive to long-term winning. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And basically it just shows that Lauri Markkanen is kind of like the third option on a championship team. And Utah, maybe that's the plan, is that when they get their superstar, then this all just falls into place. And that might be. Maybe I guess we're proving that they can lose with Markkanen, with Kessler, even though that Kessler situation's a little weird. But I feel like the Jazz are really trying to force this thing that's not really working. And it's okay. Utah Jazz are going to be in the top 5, I think. I felt more hope the last 3 days or 3 games than I did at the start of the season with all the stuff the Jazz were saying. But I feel better about it. That said, it matters how you lose. It does matter. It matters that you develop your young players. If your whole, like what the Jazz have been doing, at least last season, have been showing that to build towards a championship, you got to build towards the draft. If you're building towards a championship through the draft, then developing your draft picks matters. It matters a lot. And they've had success with Keyonte George, who's gotten better every year. They've had some success with Bryce Sensabaugh, although he only played 8 minutes tonight and still struggling. We've had little sparks of success with Cody Williams, but very few. And then Taylor Hendricks has shown some sparks, and tonight was actually a really nice night. Like, tonight was something you can point to. Now, they lost, and he's got some improvement to do defensively and figure things out. And just a reminder, this is actually his second year because he lost an entire year in offseason because of that leg injury. So we're looking at development for him, but it's just, I just don't really understand what the goals are. If the goal is the draft, then can we just at least act like it? I get tired of the too good for this, too good for that, the Utah exceptionalism. We're not different. We are the same. Everyone is the same. Everyone has a chance to jump in the draft. The draft is not rigged. You know, everyone talking about the Spurs and it being rigged for the Spurs. Well, they had 2 picks in the lottery. They had a literal better shot at a top pick than we did. You know, because they had multiple picks, and the best thing you can have in the lottery is just more ping pong balls, and that's what they had. And yeah, I don't know. So, anyways, analysis for Lauri Markkanen, he's really good. The offense is completely designed around setting him up. I would much rather prefer the Jazz start evolving to allow more people to get the ball in advantageous situations. Right? I think Keyonte George is proving to be a really nice point guard for the future. Like, really nice. Because you see he's setting up Markkanen in a great way. And I would argue probably the most important player right now for this Jazz team if they're trying to win games. So, but anyways, outside of that, I mean, Markkanen has improved, which is good. They've been trying to develop him for 3 years. He should get better. Tonight, just 30% from 3, though. This is the thing I keep watching with him. That 3-point percentage is driving me crazy. Everyone keeps telling me in the comments and on social media that, you know, he's missing threes on purpose, and it was all part of the thing, and you can't expect... It's still happening. 3 for 10. Markkanen is too good of a shooter from what everyone says for this to be 3 for 10. And by the way, a lot of these are like movement, off ball, catch and shoot threes, you know, and a lot of them are just catch and shoots. I don't know. He's very good. It's like I'm talking to the haters, I guess. Like, yes, Lauri Markkanen is very good. I do not hate Lauri Markkanen, but I also feel like I have a very clear, after 3 years of watching Markkanen closely every single game, of what he is and what he is not. What he is a very awesome catch and shoot, volume 3-point shooter when that shot is falling. He is not a pick and roll ball handler. He is not a pull-up 3-point shooter. And he is not, I don't think, he's not I don't know if he's an even average defender. That's another thing is, Will Hardy is screaming at these guys on the bench, which is his job. And everyone is being told that effort matters. But sometimes I have a hard time, and I feel for players sometimes when you see one player get a little bit of leeway on defense, but then I'm getting yelled at and benched, and I lose my minutes because I'm not defending, but then I go see Miles Bridges absolutely dunk on Lauri Markkanen's head like 3 times in a row. Right? Like if I was Taylor Hendricks, I'd be annoyed. I'd be a little annoyed that I didn't start. And shout out to Taylor Hendricks for having a good attitude. But I'd be annoyed if I watched Kyle Filipowski get out absolutely torched, barbecued chicken out there, and I'm on the bench, and last game I play 5 minutes, and then tonight I come in, like, I tell you what, Taylor Hendricks has some gripe. He has a lot of room for gripe because he went 5 for 8 tonight, 2 for 3, did his job, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, best plus minus of the starting unit. And if I'm him, I'm like, why wasn't I here all along? Anyways, let's move on. Lauri Markkanen, very good. The trade value's up, by the way. I have a feeling someone's going to throw a monster offer to the Jazz, and we'll see if they take it. But the thing is they gave him that contract that they were so cocky about. And it's hard to trade $46 million. By the way, it's not $46 million. It's $52 million because it goes up by 2 every single year. So by like the final year, it's a $52 million a year contract that they gave him. And don't think that other teams aren't looking at that. If you were trying to, by the way, that's what's... Sometimes talking these things out, I just realize things. But that contract alone is a little bit... Like, was anyone else giving Lauri Markkanen $52 million? Anyone else? Maybe. But for it to go up by 2 every year, that is player friendly. That is not team friendly. If you're trying to trade that is not a contract you're going to be able to trade as easy. Because guess what? Other teams are going to look at that. And they look at their books down the road. And maybe they don't care because it's win now, but that whole contract's, he's playing well and he's playing to that level, I guess, because every single thing on the offense is gearing up to set him up to do that. But So Jusuf Nurkic started tonight. I'm good. There were like 3 or 4 assists from Keyonte George that did not happen because Jusuf Nurkic is just not very athletic. He's just not. He is on his last legs. At best, he's a backup center. Him starting tonight was part of the loss. But yeah, it's tough. He is so big and strong. He's just plodding and he can't jump. And so if you're throwing a lob to Svi, or not to Svi, to Nurkic, tough. And there was like 3 plays tonight where he tried to throw it to him and it wasn't there, which does make you appreciate Walker Kessler. So this, in some ways, maybe this game kind of shows the value of Walker Kessler. By the way, that Bursitis thing, that's going to be all season. I think PNW Ute, Lauri needs to be finished. Trade to LA. Maybe if they give us all the picks. Thing is, guess what? PNWU. By the way, thank you so much for the donation. That's super generous. I really appreciate it. Utah cannot trade Walker Kessler now. He is going into... well, I guess they could trade him. Never mind. Sorry. They cannot extend him now. They have to wait till restricted free agency happens because they passed the deadline. They can trade him. So they could trade him to the Lakers. Thing is if they don't trade Walker Kessler, there's a lot of little rumors out there. I don't write about them and talk about them on this channel. Maybe I should. Although I don't think my fans would love me doing Laker rumors. But they really like Lauri Markkanen, and it is like not clear that they're re-signing LeBron James. And his like massive it's like upper 50s million dollar contract coming off the books. They're going to have money. And the one thing that they have struggled with is a center to pair with Luka Doncic, and they want a rolling lob big for Doncic because it opens up his game. It's what he plays best with. I mean, I'm sure he could play with a stretch big too, but he would fit perfectly with Luka. And you can bet they're going to throw money at Walker Kessler. And Utah apparently did not want to pay, and the rumors are out there, it's something like $30 million. I don't know what Utah was willing to pay. But I mean, if you don't want to pay $30 million and the Lakers are like, we just got off of the LeBron James contract and we have $34 million for Walker Kessler, you might lose him for nothing. And that is why here's the thing too with the Walker Kessler thing is when you have a player that you know is a big time part of your future. Like let's say the Jazz win the lottery and who knows, they decide that Cam Boozer is the best. They have them all work out at the end of the season. It's very clear that Cam Boozer is the best player. And they have the number 1 pick and they pick him. And then they bring him on the team and he's a revelation. He's like modern day Tim Duncan with 3-point shot, which is kind of what he looks like. Do you think if Cam Boozer coming up on his extension, you wouldn't just sign him with the quickness? Like you wouldn't just give him a contract as fast? Here, take all our monies, right? Isn't that how you would treat him? That's what's so weird about this Kessler thing. It's like, if he is a core, integral part of your future, would you not make sure that you don't mess around with this stuff? Because we've seen in the past how that stuff can go badly. We saw what happened with Gordon Hayward. Lowry and Walker to LA for LeBron. No. First off, LeBron, I mean, it would be worth it for just the jokes. It would be so funny to force LeBron, who, by the way, literally every time, I know this, he has freaking, it's not bursitis. What does he have? He has like some old person, like ailment, whatever. I forgot what it's called. Sciatica. He has sciatica, which sounds like a Seinfeld old person joke. My sciatica. My sciatica. But anyways, LeBron James has literal sciatica. But like, if he came to the Jazz, who he always rests, he does not play here because he literally marks it. You know when you like at work you have your PTO. Hopefully you have some. There's just certain days. Like me, I take my birthday off. I just mark that on my calendar. 100%. LeBron marks Utah when we go to Salt Lake. I ain't playing. The fact that if he got traded to Utah would be hilarious. It's funny enough that I'm pro it. Now, deep down in my like recesses, no, I do not want that. Because I want the Jazz to go get Darren Peterson or Cam Boozer or AJ DeBonsa. But it would be funny. It would be really funny. By the way, you put like Cam Boozer in this Yusuf Nurkic. Like, let's just look at this starting unit. Maybe the Jazz don't trade Markkanen because he's too big of a contract, and no one's giving you, like, young players and picks for a contract that big. Maybe they get lucky. I have a feeling there might be a team, like, Detroit is willing to do it right away. Detroit's willing to give the Jazz Jaden Ivey, like, now. Which, by the way, the Jazz should consider that. And then they should take Tobias Harris and waive him and get, like, 3 picks and... But anyways, you'd like put Cam Boozer in this Yusuf Nurkic spot. You put Taylor Hendricks at center, or you'd like trade into the draft in the late round and get an athletic center that can catch a lob. Or maybe you just let Walker Kessler get his bursitis okay this year, which, by the way, it might take a while. I think, was it you flipping the script that Googled bursitis and how long it takes to get better? It's not quick. But yeah, you have like Cam Boozer, Taylor Hendricks, maybe Kessler, or maybe someone else, or maybe you put Taylor Hendricks at center, Keyonte George, and then Ace Bailey. That's a fun team. But we got to play our guys. I'm grateful to all of you that survived that rant at the beginning. I was losing my mind. I was honestly... and I haven't banned a lot of people from the channel, but I banned 1 or 2 yesterday. Sorry. It's not my responsibility to listen to like or read like if you've ever wanted to listen. Sorry, I'm just ranting tonight. This is 44 minutes, and we still got a ways to go. But Zay Frank, if you want to know my favorite YouTube video, it's Zay Frank talking about FILDI. F it, let's do it. And it's my favorite YouTube video. It motivates me like crazy. FILDI by Zay Frank. I'm telling you, it's awesome. But there's one line that he has in there where he says, like, I'm willing to listen to the criticism, but when it becomes malicious, then I have to learn to take that bitter cup and throw it out, or whatever. I'm paraphrasing very poorly. But I don't mind criticism. I don't mind when someone says, like, hey, I can't hear you. And so I bought a cord. So I appreciate when people tell me, like, oh, there's something going on that's wrong. I appreciate that. But when I see people on the channel that consistently are just negative or take shots and stuff, I don't care for it, and I will ban. So I probably was a little fired up from some of that, and so I apologize, but it had to be said. I'm not yelling at you guys. I like you guys, but when you've got those people that, and I tell you what, and I've talked to my friends about this. Shout out to Andy Thorson, who I talk to a lot about this. I swear YouTube and some of these social medias are designed to piss you off, because it's funny, like the way the YouTube app works, I really appreciate all your comments, but you know, you get those push notifications on your phone. I swear that the ones that it gives to me for my comments are only the negative ones. I'm not even kidding. It just feels like every single one is like, you suck, blah, 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 or get a load of this loser, blah, 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 like every time. And then I go to the video and there's like 20 comments and I can go read through them. But the ones that it chooses to tell me are crazy. So anyways, sorry, side note, that's a little behind baseball. But so if I miss your comments, I guess it's because you're not being mean to me. But I don't want everyone to be mean to me. All right. Let's move on. Svi Mikhailiuk, still starting, 1 for 4, minus thank you, Steve Stevens. You don't have to be nice to me either. Just maybe not like tell me to, I don't know. But anyway, Svi Mikhailiuk, 1 for 4, 1 for 4. He took 4 shots in 29 minutes, was a minus 15. He had 2 rebounds and 2 assists. I don't know. He does a good job in that his whole thing is to kind of just spread the floor and set screens for Markkanen, and he does a good job at it. And he does hit shots, although 1 for 4 from 3. What is he shooting for the season now? I have nothing against Svi Mikhailiuk. Nothing. He's shooting 36% from 3. Solid. Probably right around league average. I don't know what league average is this year. Probably a little bit below. You never know. When you got guys like Con Knipple shooting 40% from 3, it feels like 40% is actually becoming the league average. I don't know. But I just don't think this is working. And the thing that's going to be tough for this Jazz team now is they have set this offense up that is completely designed around Lauri Markkanen's skill set. When you put Ace Bailey, he can do more than just kind of set screens and sit in the corner to shoot a 3. Like, we have seen Ace Bailey, as soon as Markkanen was off the floor, he was driving to the basket. He's getting shots. He's passing the ball. You know, this stat line is a little deceiving. He missed his 3s every single time he shoots it. You know, I'm like, please let that fall. But a lot of them feel very forced because, you know, like when Markkanen's on the bench, this is your opportunity, right? And it kind of sucks a little bit that when he's on the bench, I know this is my only chance to shoot the ball. And that's where this 3 for 8 comes in, and everyone else isn't quite getting all these shots off. Sensabaugh is still struggling a little bit. He did get 6 free throw attempts, so that's good. But he's struggling, and he's not very good defensively, guys. I don't know. But Bailey, yeah, I just think that what is going to happen here is Utah's going to have to kind of alter this offense and make it more equal opportunity. that we just attack the disadvantage. Right now, the Jazz are just completely set up to run things through Markkanen. When you bring Ace Bailey onto the floor, you have to be more like equal opportunity, whatever you want to call it, where if we see the advantage here or we move the ball and someone gets open, then they drive and score. And the Jazz have kind of done that the last 2 years, and they've really focused on this Markkanen offense, the Finland offense, I guess we should call it. I think Ace should start, and I think the Jazz should be just more open to allowing players to do that. And honestly, Ace Bailey needs development. We knew there was a lot of development that was going to need to happen with him, but man, are the flashes good. And the physical talent is there, and everything is there that shows you this guy has potential to turn into something really, really good. Maybe special. But he needs the opportunity, and the offense needs to set up that opportunity. If we're just doing the Lauri Markkanen show every night, then it's going to be tough for these other guys to get better. And that is an important part of this. They have to get better because eventually the Jazz are going to win the lottery. I know everyone wants to say the NBA won't let the Jazz win the lottery. Well, the Jazz have won the lottery before. I guess it depends on what your definition of the lottery is. But the Jazz won the lottery when they got Enes Kanter. Their ping pong balls were picked and they jumped to number 3. It's happened, you know? And it can happen again. The only thing is the Jazz are one of the teams that just doesn't tank very often. This is like last year was the worst record in team history, and by a long shot. The last year Utah, it was like the first time they've ever put themselves in that position, and it worked in the end because they did get Ace Bailey, but now they're not playing him enough because it's only the Finland offense, I guess. So we got to talk about Keyonte George. He is playing so well. He saved my prize picks tonight with his play. I basically bet everything on Keyonte George tonight, and he saved it. I missed a couple. But Key was great. Lauri reality makes me feel unwell. Don't trade him. We'll see. They don't have to. Here's the thing, is you don't have to trade him. But you do have to make sure the offense is open for everyone else to play well. And right now, it's not really working. You got to open things up a little bit. Can we do a little bit more? Have a little bit more flow? You know? Keyonte George, 8 for 18 from the field. And I tell you what, his percentages, the three-point shot has to get better. It just does. But he's not taking as many bad ones. And so this is nice to see 1 for 5, but it's got to get better. When it does, Key becomes just awesome. And there is a lot of signs defensively that he's becoming pretty good, showing some nice defensive signs in the advanced metrics. So people can kind of lay off Keyonte George. By the way, we always talked about Keyonte George's defense. It just seems like, I don't know if I'm a basketball socialist or what, but can we talk about everyone's defense? Bing, 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 bing. That like defense for everyone matters, not just Keyonte George. Why is it that only Keyonte George has to get better? A lot of people have to get better. And to Keyonte George's credit, he has. Now, is he an elite, high-level defender? I probably never going to be that. But I think he is looking to me like he is a league average defender, which is pretty good for a guy that handles the ball so much. And then look at this. He's stealing the ball. I don't know what his steal rate is this year, but it's actually pretty good. So if you're like a league average defender and you're creating turnovers, like he created that, this steal was the one he got right before the halftime. He's upped his steal rate. So can he get that to like 1.5 steals a game? That'd be great. That's free points when you're going in transition. So I am very, very, where are we? I am happy with what we're seeing. 25 points tonight, 7 assists. He's really producing. And I think actually Keyonte George might actually benefit a little bit from Ace Bailey starting. I wouldn't be surprised if his numbers get a little bit better. The assists are just really impressive. And, some of those assists were there last year. People were just not making shots. And so he is feeding Lauri Markkanen and benefiting. But I think there's a lot there with Ace Bailey that he could do. I think having a more open offense like that could actually allow him to get to the basket. He's getting to the basket pretty well. There's times where he goes and he gets his shot blocked. And so he's got to just develop in that way. Keyonte George is far from a finished product. But he's cutting within the offense, and it's going well. So here you'll watch him cut. Nice pass from Nurkic. But where are the driving layup shots? These are the ones that I'm really impressed with. He's got good speed. It's like good enough speed and good enough elevation. And when he beats his guy in isolation, he's making it. The ones where he's having a problem is when he's going into multiple defenders, and he's gotten better at not doing that. It's still happening here and there, and that's just basketball sometimes. Like, LeBron James has had his shot blocked before. Surprise, surprise. Michael Jordan has had his shot blocked before. But the more you can learn and grow so that you're not getting your shot blocked by three guys, the better. Here we go. Boom. Splits that and scores. So these are the really nice shots for him, and this is why I think that if the Jazz can find a way to get a stretch center, he just gets better, right? This is a big-time shot, by the way. That's a vet shot. You don't see that shot last year. This year you do. He's just getting better and better, and it's really impressive. 7 assists, 25 points, so nice to see. Him and Markkanen are basically the offense right now. Kevin Love came off the bench because Walker Kessler's out, and he played center. I kind of like it because it does give you a stretch center. And look at this, -5. Best plus minus except for Bryce Sensabaugh, actually, ironically, 8 minutes. But what he does is he spreads the floor. He passes the ball really well. He's a very good passer. And you see that in this, let's see, 5 assists. Let's just watch these. Let's give some Kevin Love some love. But look at this. This is the Markkanen game, and he plays it well, I guess. And then Sensabaugh driving floating shot. This is just him finding the right man. Hendricks 24-foot three-point shot. So this is going to come from Love. Boom. Finds the open man. Nice shot, Taylor Hendricks. And this was a nice one. This was off a rebound, kick out to Key. That was Key's three-point shot he made. And then this one, George driving. Look at this. These are just him finding cutters. Very nice. And that's that big boy bucket from Keyonte George. That's a nice play right there. That's one you can be like, oh boy, he is figuring it out. Anyways, we got to give love to Kevin Love. Ace Bailey, he's had some really nice flashes. He's shown some things. He's just also, I don't feel like he's being completely set up to succeed. And everyone can be like, well, you're getting minutes. Well, he's on the floor with Bryce Sensabaugh, who doesn't exactly pass the ball very much. Walter Clayton has struggled to start the year. He's had some moments that have been really nice, but he's struggled tonight. Struggled. 1 for 4, 0 for 1, just 2 assists. It's not like preseason where he was getting 5 or 6 a game. Struggled. Filipowski, these are who he's on the floor with. And so it's, he's kind of the offensive focal point, and he's trying to develop his handle, and he's actually doing a pretty good job of it. He's actually moving the ball pretty darn well. He only got 1 assist in this one, but he moves if you're watching these games, you're seeing him move the ball and be a very unselfish player, and it's nice to see. So anyways, I just want to see Ace Bailey more. He is a important part of the future for sure, and the Jazz have to figure out how to play with him. It can't just be Lauri Markkanen and that's it. They've got to figure out how to develop Ace Bailey. They've got to figure out how to develop their other guys. I'm extremely happy that Taylor Hendricks got to start, and really he should be starting the rest of the year. See what you got. If he's a bust, then whatever, but you've got to play him so you can figure it out and develop him into something. Because I think Taylor Hendricks and Keyonte George are 2 key parts of the future. Ace Bailey for sure. And then we'll see with Markkanen and Kessler and how that contract situation goes with Kessler and what goes on with Markkanen. Markkanen's got to not be the only option, is what I'm saying. Sensabaugh played just 8 minutes tonight. There's just some sort of struggle there. It's not the greatest defense. Although he did make his 1 shot he took, and he took 6 free throws. So there's something there. That's at least efficiency. One of these times I got to sit here and watch his minutes and just what is going on here. And is he moving? Is he not really moving the way the coach wants him to. I don't know. Walter Clayton Jr., who has been struggling, got 18 minutes tonight. One thing that I do like about Clayton Jr. is even though there's some turnovers happening and some struggle within the offense, the shooting's still not there yet. He does handle the ball like an old school point guard and makes good decisions, which is good. It is good. He'll get better. He's one of those that I'm like, he'll figure it out. He's very good. And we know he can shoot the ball. We know he's a gamer. It's just going to take some time. There's going to be some games this year that he's probably going to win the game for us and maybe make me crazy, but I'm okay with going crazy if Walter Clayton is really good. I have to say, Isaiah Collier's coming back soon, and I am fascinated to see how that changes things. Like, does he get minutes? Does he not? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he just doesn't play at all. You know, the way Walter Clayton's been, I just kind of think, is he a better option because he can shoot it and he runs the point pretty well? I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be fascinating. My guess is he is going to play, but I don't know. He might be a little bit of a tank commander, to be honest. Kyle Filipowski goes to the bench, and I think this is a good spot for him. I think this is where he can succeed because defensively it's not very good. It's just not. He is not a rim protecting center at all, but he's getting blown by a little bit on defense when he's at the 4. So he's a little bit situational. He can shoot the ball. He can pass it. He's got kind of an all-around skill set. He's just not an elite athlete. And so he's not super athletic, but he's very skilled. And so I think there's room for him with his size to be a nice bench player that comes in and you can put him in certain situations. If you want to go 5 out, great. Like, and if Filipowski's like dominating in a game, just give him extended run. No problem with that. I do think long term against extremely good teams, it's going to be really tough for him to be a starting player. It's just going to be tough. He's kind of like a Vucevic a little bit. That's always been my kind of comp for him, but he can't protect the rim. And so I don't know. But, sorry I yawned. But he does have a nice skill set and he does a lot of nice things and he can punish mismatches. And when the Jazz become really good, he's a player that you can play off the bench and punish second units. And that's great. Nothing wrong with that. You can be a 10 to 15 year player doing that and make a lot of money and be an important part of teams, like a Kelly Olynyk kind of thing. Like Kelly Olynyk probably not starting for a championship team, but definitely can play off the bench and hit some threes and pass the ball and do a lot of nice things. So Kyle Anderson keeps getting minutes. I guess it's to prove a point. Not a lot, I have to say. He's slow. He does move the ball, and I think he's a pretty good defender overall, but he was a +4 in this 23-point loss. So, somehow he is impacting in a positive way. See. Sorry, I got a text from my daughter. So anyways, nice stuff. And then Cody Williams, who had a nice impact the other game, did not have a very big impact tonight. So I don't know what to think. Cody Williams might be done. I'm very pro Cody Williams, but I don't know. I don't think the Will Hardy is super high on him because he doesn't really play unless he's trying to like punish someone else for not trying hard. I don't know. He was a +2 in a 23-point loss though. So he does play defense. That's one thing. Like when anyone's like talking about Cody Williams plays defense. In 9 minutes, he only did 2 rebounds, so he's not really doing a lot. He did have a blocked shot though, and 2 rebounds, but he just doesn't impose his will very much. And if he just imposed it, good things happen. But I don't know. That's all I got today, guys. But guess what? The Utah Jazz are sitting in the top 5 here. They've lost 3 in a row. That's not the big. I cannot believe this New Orleans team traded their pick to Atlanta unprotected. and now start the season 0-6. They need to fire their coach 2 years ago, Willie Green or whatever his name is. He's just not good. If you've ever sat down and watched the freaking Pelicans, they're not good. They're really not good. So let's see here. Let's start the music. All right, so we're going to do tankathons this year because we're now a team that's in the lottery and a top 5 pick. And the Jazz would have to drop 4 spots to give this to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So it's important that they stay 4 or 5 at least so they don't lose their pick. And 5 is still danger. 4 means completely safe. So the Jazz should try to be bottom 4 in the league. And I think they can. Indiana's probably too good to be here. Washington's actually pretty decent, but they've also lost 4 in a row. So the Jazz have their work cut out for them. New Orleans is going to fire their coach and get better. This team is going to outpace the Jazz if the Jazz are smart. All right, what would happen? Let's turn this down a little bit. What would happen if the lottery was today? Utah stays at 5. I'll take it, though. Keep our pick. That gives the Jazz Kareem Lopez. Miss out on all these guys. Payne. I will say, Caleb Wilson is turning heads. Interesting player. 6'10", 215 pounds. He looks pretty athletic. Interesting player. So you never know. But the Jazz desperately need to win one of these picks. I cannot believe the Atlanta Hawks in this draft get Cameron Boozer. Let's do it one more time. Okay, there we go. But it's got to be the first draw, so they get I want to win that lottery so bad, guys. All right, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars. By the way, stop the music. Stop the music. Who's the IT guy here? We had a new All-Star. Oh man, let's just have the music playing. It sounds so quiet now. That's too harsh. Guys, Steve Stevens is an All-Star. Steve Stevens, there you are. Devon's, you've been talking all night, Steve Stevens. Guys, what is our... We've got Steve Jazz Exile. Now we have Steve Stevens. I believe in Steve is for Jazz Exile. What do we got for Steve Stevens? Steve Stevens. By the way, if you join the All-Stars, you get this nickname, and it's important. I need ideas, guys. I need ideas. Steve Stevens. Steve Squared. Not bad. Even Stevens is too easy. Steve. Oh, you're in Southeast Asia. Is there anything that you like to do, Steve, or anything about you that kind of sets you apart? Stevens ain't leaving. Ooh. Take a day. That's kind of fun. Take a day, Steve Stevens. Steve Stevens. That's fun. You know, what I like is that it's repetitive. It's Steve Stevens. All day, Steve Stevens. Take a day all day. Reminds me of that Marshawn Lynch quote. Like over and over and over. Steve Stevens. Oh, take a day to decide. All right. First thing on our next video, we got to give Steve Stevens a nickname, okay? We can't rush this. It's important. Steve, you have homework. You got to think about what you want and who you are as a person. And we'll figure it out. By the way, leave comments. What should we give Steve Stevens as a nickname? Guys, leave comments. All right, let's give a shout out to the All-Stars. Steve Stevens, the new guy. Let him cook sturdy pots. My throat is getting dry. Ezekiel Ricebi, the man from down under. Tyson Price, the Price is Right. See ya. Lex Slater, Jordan the Go Best Roll. Ryan Edward Perry, the legend. Christian House Money to Haas. Robert Hall of Fame. I Believe in Steve. Jazz Exile. Austin R. Grant, editor extraordinaire. Flipping the script, the OG. And Patrick Akubo, the connoisseur. We outran the music.